Hello, it's Thursday, October 27th, 2016, and as of this recording, I'm still depressed, but I'm not dead. Wow, okay, 3 weeks since the last show. I guess I'm overdue for a little bit of talky talk here at the computer. 3 weeks is quite a long time. I won't bore you guys too much with what's been going on specifically. I will let you know that, hey, I'm still losing weight. I'm down just over 20 pounds now, so woohoo. I'm going to the gym 3 times a week, trying to run, trying to lift weights. These past couple of weeks, it was kind of rough. Actually took a step back in the weightlifting. I bailed on running a couple times after starting because it just, I don't know if it was physically I didn't feel right or mentally if I was just too caught up in, the goings-ons of my depressed mind. But yeah, so that's been a little bit of a struggle. But yeah, I'm still at it. I'm still going. So I guess that's the takeaway there. So I don't know if I mentioned, it ended up a couple weeks ago. I went back to Michigan to visit my folks, visit my kids, and oh yeah, I think I did bore you guys with this. So I went and got to see my kids. We went to a corn maze, which is always kind of fun. We came across a wild turkey out in the corn maze, so that was pretty awesome. We did that. We went to an apple orchard, but not really apple picking. We just wanted to get some donuts and cider. So we did that, sat outdoors for a little while, eating and drinking and just kind of chit-chatting, having a good time. We went to a haunted house, which, wow. I haven't been to a lot of haunted houses in my life, I guess. When I was a kid, I remember going to one at the school that I went to, and there was this, I don't know, it was supposed to be like a mad scientist laboratory thing, and pretty much you just stuck your hand through a hole to feel the body parts. And, there was like jello, and that was a brain, and whatever, right? And I remember being freaked out, just totally, oh my gosh. And I must have been 7, 8, maybe 9. Just, wow, I wasn't brave enough to stick my hand in after the first one. I went to a haunted house, a full-time haunted house in Las Vegas, and I can't remember the name of it. I remember it was created by the director of at least the first Saw movie. So I was all in. I was like, oh yeah, I'm going. And I remember just being like bored out of my mind going through there, and I was really disappointed. But the girls wanted to go to one, so we did some research. We found one. All my girls went, all 4 of them, and myself. We went and did a like an escape room they had, which was pretty neat. It wasn't as big and elaborate as some of the other escape rooms you'd go spend $40, $50 on. But it was $10 to go in, and you go in and there's a dead body on the table and all different things. So that was pretty fun. They had a good time with that. We went to the haunted house, and wow, it was intense. It was loud, which I wasn't as big a fan of. Lots of ghouls and creepy things kind of screaming in your face, which I wasn't that impressed with to the extent that they did it. But holy cow, it took like 20 minutes to get through, and there must have been 150 to 200 different characters inside that haunted house. So wow, it was pretty neat. And yeah, I said I wasn't going to bore you guys with all the details. And we made a pumpkin man, so I think a snowman, but with 3 pumpkins instead. So that was pretty fun. I got to see my folks, got to see my friend Dave. Didn't get to catch up with my friend Niles, maybe next time. So yeah, so that was my trip back to Michigan in a quick nutshell. And it was weird, I guess not weird. It's pretty well expected now, but when I came back, my first couple of days back were pretty rough. I was really I was crabby. I was super tired. And along with that just came this feeling of defeat and, lack of vision of, anything past right now, as much as I tried. And, I apologize to Nora. I was a bit crabby. I did a lot of sleeping, mostly because I needed to, physically needed it. But a good deal of that also was avoiding me, avoiding the world, avoiding, life. And then Nora went out of town a couple days after I got back. Actually, the day after I got back, I think. Yeah, maybe 2 days. And that's always a tough week as well when she's gone. And I've mentioned before, she's my rock. She's oftentimes my reason for getting out of bed, for actually accomplishing things. But she's back, and we've been doing some cooking with Blue Apron. No, this is not a commercial for Blue Apron like so many podcasts, but it's pretty neat. So that's kind of fun. So before I get into the meat of today's show, let me remind everybody that I am all over the internet, as it were. You can find me on Facebook at www.facebook.com/jamoalki, Twitter at jamoalki, email jamoalki@gmail.com, on the website jamoalki.info. And I got that text number, which has been pretty quiet, guys, so don't be afraid to send me a text message. It's fun for me to be noticed. And again, that phone number is 248-648-1419. That is a Google phone number. It is able to take voicemail, but again, it won't ding-a-ling on any of my phones or anywhere, so I wouldn't be able to answer it if you did call. But you're welcome to leave me a voicemail. You might hear yourself on the show, or as a text message app, it works great, and I do get those notifications straight to my phone. So everybody, reach out to me. I would love it. That's Jamoalki, Jamoalki. And let's have a conversation. So there's the housekeeping, and time to get into it. I've mentioned before that kind of getting teary-eyed sad isn't something that really happens to me anymore. There was that story when I went back to stay with my folks when my dad had surgery, and I wasn't taking any of the medication to help me sleep at night, and so physically I was pretty well done for, and emotionally follows after that. So I did find myself at those times being kind of teary-eyed, weepy at times, always reserved for by myself with no one around. There was a time a little bit ago where I thought, hey, maybe I should try kind of titrating myself off of the Lexapro. That is part of my cocktail. That's my SSRI. And so I thought, all right, because we had started at 20 milligrams, and now we're at 10 milligrams. And I thought, well, I make that 10-5 and then go to 0, and just to see, not because I was anti-medication, not because I didn't want to be on the medication, but I kind of wanted to see. And it took about 3 weeks of that. I found myself pretty emotional, kind of welling up sometimes at, like watching a movie in a scene that really isn't supposed to be sad. Maybe not, sometimes you get that teary-eyed when something fantastically happy happens in a movie or show or real life or whatever. Not even like that, like just, I don't know, Urkel pulls his pants up as he walks out the door, something stupid like that. And I remember, one night even, Nora and I were home. She was at the computer playing a game that we both love. And I was kind of tired. I was just kind of laying in bed watching something. I think Luke Cage. Yeah, Luke Cage on Netflix. Kind of a fun show, superhero type thing. And I don't remember the scene, but I remember just being kind of overwhelmed and laying in bed, kind of with my back to Nora and just kind of crying, just, tears coming out, trying real hard to cover my sniffles so it didn't sound like I was necessarily crying, maybe more like a little cold as, chilly weather's back. But, I didn't want to show that to Nora. And, there's a longer story in there, but, our sharing about this journey isn't exactly where I would like it to be, for kind of reasons that I'm not comfortable, and I don't think Nora would be comfortable sharing with you guys. But in general, Nora is fantastically supportive. It's just that we have some joint issues when we get into kind of the real meat of my depression. And I totally get it. So I have outlets other than with her for some of the things, be it this podcast or the DBSA group I go to, or, whatever. So it's not like she's depriving me of these things. It's just, something we're trying to figure out a way that we can talk about a lot of these things without, my mood and my disorders kind of spiraling us both down. What I'm getting at is that, I don't get that sad, which sounds to a lot of people probably sounds kind of counterintuitive to someone who's depressed. And quite clearly, case studies and literature and, anecdotal stories all show that that's not at all, against the grain of being depressed. There's different ways you get there. And, I mentioned the kind of anhedonia, which is the lack of happiness. And there's, a lack of emotions entirely that can be just from your depression. You can also get there from, you hear about different medications just making people feel flat. And that's kind of what I was trying to get at with the Lexapro, is just wondering is this kind of keeping me from feeling the ups and the downs somewhat, but, I wasn't exactly interested in the downs. If I got some really, really good ups and things I can say, wow, I feel good, I feel happy, I might be willing to take some of those downs, but maybe I didn't follow through long enough to see. But, a week of just kind of being on the verge of tears most of the day was enough for me to say, okay, this is not something I need to pursue right now. So I'm back up to, full strength on the cocktail, and feeling pretty flat and whatever. So, I mentioned Nora was out of town, and this was actually after I had kind of been back on my medication, and it was Friday, and time to go pick her up at the airport. I showed up a little early, like I always do, and I thought, okay, I'll just kind of walk the concourse up and down, get some more steps, burn some more calories. And, there's also people watching when you do that, and the airport is kind of a fun place to people watch. You get, different cultures, different types of people, different ages, different everything. So it is kind of fun to people watch as well. So I saw there was a woman walking with her daughter. They had just gotten off the plane and had collected their baggage and were headed to, wherever it was. And so on the luggage cart, there was up on top, up front, an American Girl doll buckled into an American Girl doll car seat, way up high. So, facing forward, as if, little Susie there wanted to make sure that her Caroline doll could see what was going on, and it was part of the group, right? And so I saw that, and I saw the mom pushing it, and she was, tired from the flight, but there's the girl walking and feeling pretty good. And, she reached up and like touched the doll's hand. It was like hey, we're doing good. And just kind of flashback to Mo and Jay, my two little ones, and how they would do those same kind of things with their American Girl dolls. And, when it was a big thing, they went through probably 2-3 years of it just being, every story that you hear, right? Like, she's got to be tucked into bed. She's got to change her clothes every day. She's got to brush her hair at night, all that kind of stuff. And I had a picture in my head of my little ones doing, being in that situation and doing that. And oh my gosh, it like all the emotions started, and immediately I welled up. Immediately my nose was running. Immediately all I thought to do was just find some place to go and hide and be away from people. Started, dabbing my eyes and kind of keeping, holding back all these tears. I'm at the airport, right? Last thing that anybody wants to see is a guy walking the airport, streaming tears in his eyes, or where else would you stream them, I guess. So it took like 10 minutes for me to get to a point where I felt like I had it together. During that time, I kept, walking and people watching and trying to find anything to distract me and get my mind focused on something else. It was tough though. I mean, I went from that, picturing my girls with their American Girl dolls, to kind of reminiscing about, all the other kind of cute things that come with having little kids and little girls, maybe specifically, Beanie Boos, and, how much in love they were with those and how we had to get them, and, beds full of stuffed animals, so much so that there's no room for a kid. Going to Target during the kind of Halloween, Christmas seasons and checking out the kind of animatronic decorations and the things that would talk and light up and boo and all that, and how they just adored doing that when they were, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 years old. Like, fruit snacks, and how cool it was when, the latest Disney movie had come out and all of a sudden there's, whatever, I don't know, fruit snacks in the shape of those characters, or even, Disney princess fruit snacks, and how just crazy that was for them. They were just, wow, I want that. They taste better than the other ones. They're kind of wide-eyed wonder and happiness at Disney, and seeing the Disney characters that they knew kind of there, and all, the magic of that, and those kind of things. The TV shows that we would watch, right? Awful TV shows, Victorious, and I don't know, what was that one with, I don't know. But, different, mostly Disney shows, maybe Nickelodeon shows. How excited they would get when we'd go to the food store and they could, they got the race cars. Can we get in the race car, Daddy? Can we? So, push them around the store in the race car. And all those things just, bang, 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 one after the other. They just kept coming. And every time a new one popped in my head, I got a little more sad. I got a little more teary-eyed. And, yeah, it's strange that I don't know that I was actively trying to recall those situations and those memories, but man, I sure couldn't stop them. And so, I got to a point where I said, okay, let's try this, this new philosophy of mine, this kind of take the fight to the depression, and start challenging that. And I started challenging why I was feeling sad about these memories. Am I just missing it? Am I struggling to let go of that? Am I feeling guilty that I'm not making as many new memories because I'm here in Minnesota and my girls are in Michigan? So I tried picking them apart and seeing, okay, why is this happening? And it didn't come to me that day, that night. It came to me over that weekend. The more I kept thinking about it, and what I've realized is that I feel regret. I feel I'm ashamed. I feel ineffectual. I feel inept because of the way I was mentally a part of those situations, how I was part of those memories. And when I think about it, I can see it, but in general, you think of a memory and, oh yeah, that was a good time. But when I really start thinking about it, I'm aware now, and I guess I was then, how really difficult it was for me to be fully present at any time with the girls. And many times I was just I just wasn't present. I had the ideas to go do different things and try different things. And, my ex was, she was big on the picking pumpkins and picking apples. And, she's the one who said, hey, we should go to Disney. And, so, there was lots of good movement towards those kind of typical family things, I guess, which were all in themselves good. And I was halfway decent at wanting to be part of that. But I know that in those situations, I wasn't present. I was kind of always battling my depression, feeling the insecurities that come along with that. The indefatigable need to kind of withdraw from any situation and kind of hope that, okay, is this, let's end this interaction now. Let's end this adventure now so I can find somewhere to be, so I can just, I don't know, not feel the pressure to be normal, which is a tricky thing in itself, right? And I know some of you saying, well, what's normal? Normal is just who you are. But it's, I don't know if I think this falls into that. If you've never experienced it, you don't get it. So, I think about, let's say the race car shopping carts, right? The girls were, so excited they want to get in. And I'm like, great. I'm going to expend every bit of kind of interactive energy I have right now, being excited, and say, yeah, let's get in the cart, and get them in the cart. And then I'm like spent then, right? And okay, now I just got to do my shopping. I got my list. Okay, let's get this stuff done. And, they wanted more interaction from there. And I just wasn't about it. I couldn't, it's like I used up, I had just enough impulse power, to use a Star Trek reference, to navigate the aisles of the food store and get the things we wanted. Being at Disney, it was like, okay, let's kind of get through this ride to this line, and okay, can this be over yet? And now we're on to the next ride. And I wanted my kids to be happy. I wanted it to be a good experience, but I feel as though I didn't actively add to it, right? It was, I understand it was good for them that their dad was there, and that I was, there taking part physically in it. But, I didn't care, I guess, emotionally, that, okay, can't you guys just have fun, and I just make sure nobody steals you, or, I just make sure that, we're keeping it together, that we're all getting along, and this is something that still goes on with me, and I still struggle with this, and I have a real inability to enjoy the moment. And I know that I've talked about this. So, I apologize if this is boring or repetitive or whatnot, but I think this is why I get so sad when I reminisce about those things with my two little ones, my two older ones. I was never in the moment with them. And while I don't think necessarily that I detracted from events, I don't think I made a happy moment unhappy. But I think I left a lot on the table, for both them and for me, to kind of have, a truly meaningful experience. And, we all have our own definitions of what meaningful experience is, I suppose. And I know a lot of you are going to say, wow, there are some dads who wouldn't do anything with their kids. And great, I get that. The world's full of all different kinds of people. And just because person A is, this kind of dad, and person B is this kind of dad, and I'm, dad C or whatever, it doesn't mean, if I do slightly more than A and B, let's say, that doesn't mean that I've been the kind of dad that I believe that my children deserve. And, so, that kind of snowballs, and I'm kind of getting off track here in my head. This is bringing up, lots of different things, questioning me again and being a dad and all that. So yeah, I wanted to share this. I don't know that it's exactly right. I don't know what it means, but I'm aware of it. And I'm also very aware that I haven't changed in those situations since as far back as I can remember them being. As far back as when Al was 2 or 3, and she was my favorite little person in the whole wide world. So I guess it's a bonus that I see it, I acknowledge it, and I'm going to file that away with information about the mind of me. But I'm not, like several things I'm coming across or figuring out on this journey. I don't know what to do with that information just yet. I know what, I guess I know what I would like to do. I know I should work on that kind of being in the moment. But right now it just seems like that is so far off the table for me. I don't know. It's, there it is. There's, me being sad in your earballs. So, I hope you guys enjoyed the story. Hopefully I made some sense. Let me know. Get back to me. Let me know what you thought. All those different jamoalki places I mentioned. And everybody, thanks for listening. Be safe and be well.